Good morning, my dear students of class 5. Now, today we're going to start with chapter 2, and that is the continuation of Rip Van Winkle, part 2. Now, I hope you still remember the first part of Rip Van Winkle, what happened to him, okay, and how he felt asleep in the end. Now, let's find out what happens to him in the second part. Now, the story starts when Rip Van Winkle woke up. Now, when he woke up, he was lying on the green hillside on the mountain. The moment he woke up, he started rubbing his eyes. Okay, since it was early morning, a bright sunny day. Now, the birds were chirping among the bushes. An eagle was flying above his head. Okay, and he thought to himself, I must have slept all night here. Now he looks around and he sees nobody. He does not see the small little men whom he met in the first part. Okay? They were nowhere to be seen. His dog Wolf was not there with him. The only thing that was there with him was his gun. And his gun, okay, it was he was surprised to see his gun because it was eaten away with rust and falling into pieces. That means his gun had become very old. Okay? Now Rip, okay, after he woke up, he stood up from there, he lifted his rusty gun, and he went to look for the men whom he had seen the night before. Okay? Now, if you still remember, these little men, they played a trick on him. And Rip was very angry when he remembered what they did to him. Okay? And he said to himself, I shall give them what they deserve. Now, for an hour or more than that, Rip went among the hills and valleys, searched for those little men, but they were nowhere to be seen. At last, since he was quite old now, he was tired, he decided to go back to his village. Now, when Rip reached the village, there was a lot of surprises to see. Okay? Now, the first thing, the village had changed. The shops were looking strange, the houses had changed. Now, not even one person that Rip met in the village that he knew. So these people were different, the houses were different, the shops were different, the whole village itself was different. So what did he do? He started asking the people in the village. Okay? But nobody knew who he was and where he came from. As Rip asked all the people in the village if they remembered him, but nobody knew him at all. So, when Rip was tired, he cried out to the people. He said, Does nobody here know me? I am Rip Van Winkle. Just at that moment, a young woman, called to him. She said, Excuse me, sir, what did you just say? Did you say Rip Van Winkle? He said, Yes. She said, My father was called by that name. And she told him what happened to her father. She said, One day my father, when I was a very little girl, he went away to the hills with his dog Wolf and his gun, and he never returned. So she also told him that her mother had passed away. Okay, that means Rip Van Winkle's wife was also dead now. Okay, so she said that I'm your daughter. On hearing this, Rip was very happy since at least somebody there knew him, and somebody whom he knew was his daughter. So Rip told his daughter, okay, he said, how many years have I disappeared? Okay, how many years did I disappear? Sorry. So his daughter said, 20 years. And Rip said, then I must have slept for 20 years on the hillside. And so Rip, he went to stay with his daughter. Why? Because his old house was ruined. Okay, he could not stay there anymore, so he went to stay with his daughter. Now, from that day, Rip would spend the rest of his days in peace. He would love to tell stories to the village children, and we may be sure that they were better stories than ever. So this is the end of the story, my dear children. I hope you understand. If not, please go back to check the video from part 1 and then you listen with this video of part 2. Okay? I hope you understand the chapter. Now I have one question for you, and that is, find 2 meanings. Okay? Please listen carefully. The first meaning is vanish. V-A-N-I-S-H. Vanish. You have to write down in your exercise what does it mean. Write the meaning of vanish. Number 2, rust. R-U-S-T. Rust. Now remember, these 2 meanings will be your homework. Find out the meaning, write it down in your exercise book, and send it to me. So thank you, my dear children, and have a nice day.